What the hell happened here? There. Thank you, Parker. James Parker, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't clear my throat properly. Welcome, everybody, into Pugs and Parker. We do this every Monday through Thursday evenings, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, the only standard of time that we recognize around these parts, Central Time. It's the second of two streams that I do. I also do something called High Noon every Monday through Friday at noon Central Time. Again, James, come on in, James. Come on. Do I have to bring it? There he is. Look at him. I call him Handsome Frankenstein. Look at him. All right, so what's going on around here? I was in the shower and I'm getting all dried up and cleaned and shaven and all that good stuff, and I can hear a party going on, James. What do you got cooking?
Well, we have a lot of people who have found interest in our podcast project, Who Killed Live 105.3, and people are wanting to tell their stories. And look, how long was Live 105.3 on the air? 8 years. So it's been gone longer than it was on the air. And
let me tell you, some of the conversations that I've had, we've posed that very same question. So one of the great answers that we are seeking right from the get-go is, let's establish when it started and when it ended, because there's a bunch of different brandings and incarnations. So we'll get into all of that.
Yeah, and look, I think for the purposes of this documentary, it sounds so official, us telling our stories.
It is, though. Is there a phrase that is audio specific, though? You know what I mean?
An audio documentary? No, you're right. So what we have here is, I think we can all generally agree that when it flipped from the Young Country format to Live 105.3, the talk that rocks Texas. Yeah, I went through the old shoebox there and got this out.
Wow.
And then it later on, 3 years later, became Live 105.3, but we'll still count this in the time that it was this. And when you add these two together, I think you get only 8 years of broadcasting out of it. Yeah. But what a stain it left, or skid mark, or I don't know, imprint it left, that we're still talking about it, and it's been gone longer than it was even on the air.
Oh my God, yeah, much longer. It's like the Beatles, James. It's the Beatles of Dallas radio. There you go. The Beatles were only around between 1960 and like 1968. Same thing. 8 years, Beatles.
I mean, we might be overselling it, but we were pretty big.
Well, I said locally. I said well.
All right. So today we have two people who were definite players in the story. You know, they're not Don Corleone in The Godfather, but they're like, a Sonny, or at least an Enzo the Baker in our story here. And we're going to have Keynote from Keynote, Headcrack, and Super K. They were the night show on the beat when Pugs and Kelly was a thing, and there was a lot of crossover between those two shows and those two stations. And then also Emil Cirillo, the artist, is on today too. So we got sort of a double header of people telling their stories. I'm telling you, Pugs, people are wanting.
All right, I don't need to hear any more of Emil's stories. Okay,
I do, but
Emil's got no more stories. We're gonna unveil Emil's stories. We'll get to Emil's stories. I want to do so. Look, first of all, Keto, look at you. Oh,
hey, look at you. You're still my Caucasian, Pugs. You're still my Caucasian brother.
You're still, yeah. I don't really know. How does a middle-aged white man answer?
Hey, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter.
I love you. Thank you so much for coming by, and thank you so much for. We had Headcrack on last week. I think we wished you our best, and obviously, look, it comes back, and now we have Keynote with us on this Monday.
God bless you, sir.
Can we start with the beginning? Like, when did Live 105.3 get on your radar, or the Talk That Rock Texas, or whatever? But when were you first aware that radio station even existed?
Around the time it launched, when I would be heading into work at 6 o'clock, because our time slot at the time was 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And on the way, I would be scanning the radio, listening to different things, and I was familiar with different. I liked, even though I was in the hip hop format and everything, and I was a little bit younger, I was always into different forms of talk radio. I just like subjects, and I like long form, radio. And I'd be lying to you if I told you the exact day and time, but it was around when y'all first very started. And I know Headcrack and I and Super K became a fan real quick, specifically of Pugs and Kelly, and the whole thing that you guys brought. It was cool because you guys talked about a lot of things we wanted to talk about, but our program director at the time was like a cokehead and all. He was a mess. And he did not let us do a lot of things that we were able to do before he got there.
You're welcome to name names, Keynote.
Yeah, we don't care. Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe he does.
Yeah, normally I would. I really would, but I'm still. I don't. But
Hey, don't let us stop you. I understand if you don't. Just don't let us.
It's all good. I might here in a minute if I get riled up enough. But
let me ask you this though, or it's not even. It's just more of an observation. That's something that I've heard more frequently about the station 105.3, the station we're talking about here, than any other station, and that is that disc jockeys, personalities, hosts, whomever from all other formats used to listen to us. Now that doesn't always work. Like country guys don't listen to rock stations. You know what I mean? They don't. But for some reason, it was the kind of lifestyle, super connective, conversational stuff that we were doing. I guess that. So I hear that a lot. Like one of the great stories. Well, we've got a really great Kid Craddock story that I'm going to save for the podcast. But he called us his morning show because when we were doing overnights, he used to drive in to do his own show and he would listen to us. So he called Kelly and me, "You're my morning show." And I was so flattered by that. And you guys over there at an urban station, you and Headcrack are listening. We had guys from the metal station. It was, it was a very welcoming, sort of interesting format because I've worked on a lot of radio formats and I've never experienced that before.
I think you just reminded me. I think there would be times I'll be leaving because I did a lot of club work. So I'd get off at 10 and I'd have to go do these clubs. And I'd want to decompress from being in that environment because we was in a really rowdy environment, especially at that time. Things were real thugged out in the hood. And so I'd be in that and I would listen. I forgot about that. I would be listening to you guys. I remember you were doing the show, I believe, from Chicago. Was it?
Yeah. From Kelly's
and that's right, from the basement. It's just a picture y'all painted, and I love listening. And a lot of things y'all spoke about were things that I was into. Y'all would talk about Always Sunny in Philadelphia and different things, and just these different shows and things I was like in love with watching that I was not necessarily able to speak about on my show. And y'all did something we kind of did that we took pride in. We invited everybody to the party, even though we were a quote unquote urban show. Yeah. We liked having like everybody on, whether you were a white guy, Chinese, it didn't matter. Whereas a lot of other urban shows and other Anglo shows, as you would say, would just have those audiences on. Whereas we made a point to get everybody on. And I loved how y'all did that.
Yeah, we had, if you were to go to one of our crowds and you were to scan it, we had a lot of different color faces in our crowd.
We'd go to Duke's all the time. We'd be out there partying with y'all at Duke's when we got off the air, man, at the club. Yeah.
105.3 had everybody from the Bubbas to the Mexican dudes, to the black dudes, to the super white trash, to the transplants. Right. 105.3 had a lot of transplants. There was a time when I was running around with a crew of dudes and every single one of them was born somewhere else. There's a dude from New York. There's a dude from, Detroit, a dude from people. I mean, that's what the station was sort of non-exclusive at a time when most radio formats were extremely exclusive.
Right, and we did do well with the Anglos as well.
the Anglo-Saxons.
The Anglos were the target demo.
Right. So I am finding two real on-ramps to at least the Pugs and Kelly show. Like the experience that Keynote just described is exactly what Headcrack described, is a lot like what other people have described. But my on-ramp was, I was a Howard Stern listener who, when he was put on 105.3 and then you were put on after him.
That's right.
That was my on-ramp onto the Pugs and Kelly show. So actually Keynote beats me by a year, and then I ended up being on the damn show.
I don't even, this is going to be embarrassing. And I hope, actually, it's embarrassing for me. I hope it's not upsetting to James. Keynote, do you know I have no idea where James came from? Just like James was in my life. And I don't remember our origin story, James. And I'm hoping that you do. How did you come to be a part of our show? You were after Eric, yes, but very soon after Eric, right?
Yeah, I was the next semester after Eric, and you were
Because
doing.
and here's why, because I remember looking at you and thinking, "Oh, good, now we've got one in reserve." That was
Yeah, Eric was a cool dude too, man. Ended up getting pretty tight with that dude, man. It was both you guys, man, and y'all rap group would come out and we'd have shows and y'all come out and rock with us.
Yeah,
That
and
was
see, Bugs,
amazing.
that's part of the overlap. And I don't know if you ever went to any of these shows, but some of the parody songs that Eric and I would make and perform on Bugs and Kelly, we would end up doing live on a stage just as some sort of comic relief between
And
sets.
kill it, but
yeah,
kill it. That's why we were like, these dudes is dope.
I went to that Caribbean place in Addison a couple. What
Caribbean
was that
Grill.
called? What was it called?
Caribbean Grill.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I always ended up there, but yeah, I was there a couple of times.
Oh,
You know,
good. I didn't remember you
I
going.
think I saw Head Crack and Keynote there too. That's probably
Mhm.
why I went. Yeah.
Yeah, those were good times, man, and that was just something we really like. That's why we would sneak on sometimes, and y'all would be talking about something we wanted to talk about when necessarily we'd get the hotline that we couldn't really talk about. We'd hear you guys talking about. We'd run to the next room and change our names so we could get on the air with you guys and do voices and do different characters and give our opinion on things. You know what I'm saying? And just the whole cohesiveness of it, man. It was just a great show, and I think y'all were ahead of it. I'm not just saying this because I'm here with you, but y'all are way ahead of the curb on a lot of things. What people are trying to do now with the podcast, y'all were already doing back in
I've been saying that for decades. Our show is the original podcast.
Really, and
not one of the good ones, but like all the really bad podcasts that are out there now. Our show was the first of those.
No, y'all were great. In my opinion, and I'm biased because you know what I'm saying, but
I
like,
appreciate that.
yeah, but no, for real, we were like really big fans, and it was great to be able to witness everything and get to be cool with y'all because I was a fan of what y'all were doing, and then getting to know you guys, and then I got to meet different comics through you that I was a huge fan of. You let us hang out. We'd go over to the comedy club, met Bill Burr and a bunch of different cats through you guys. So it was an amazing time.
That's why I love you and Head Crack. We let you hang out. We didn't let you hang out. It was cool.
I got to come to your crib and hang out. It was awesome, man. So that's how we saw it.
Yeah, and it was funny because Pugs at the time, these guys they're being kind of deferential, but they would show up at our events to play dodgeball, and it's like, hey, so I heard you talking about this trucker who got caught with the prostitute, turned out to be Randy and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, what'd you do on your show today? They'd be like, oh, I talked to Ludacris or 50 Cent. Like,
Because
right?
Boring.
I mean, we weren't. Well, the thing is, we're music nerds first and foremost. So a lot of the artists, no disrespect to the artists, but a lot of the commercial artists, it was like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Not to be like, but I rhyme better than you, so you know what I'm saying. But we really respect what y'all did as what y'all. We were like, wow, they're doing exactly what we love and what we love to hear and what we think radio should sound like. In the direction we wanted to go, because we were just some regular street rapping dudes who ended up getting blessed with being on the radio for being creative and getting to see what you guys did and how it all came about was a beautiful thing.
I do not understand, and I mentioned something similar to this to Head Crack about how I never understood why there wasn't an urban formatted sports talk network that's just more in the vein of what LeBron did with his barbershop series. You would even call the format barbershop sports, and it would just, we know sports makes money. But what I also don't understand, and when you look around at urban radio is thriving in major American cities. You look at the talent that is out there, and not just out there, but being recognized now. And
Right.
why couldn't there be like a nationwide network, urban talk, like not urban talk, but urban personality? The way Howard, they tried to build around Howard Stern.
But you mean sports specific?
No. I'm saying that's a totally different format. It's a sports
Personality.
format. I'm talking about like, excuse me. I'm so sorry. like what if you were to build, I don't care. You pick one of them, throw a dart at the wall. But if you were to build around one personality and then take another major personality and make them the midday show, and just, so what I'm saying is a lifestyle where you don't have to play music. Although I know that a lot of the biggest names in urban format doesn't have to play music if they're just doing personality talk.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've always wondered why that as a format, since urban is doing so well in so many large major population, why there isn't more urban radio based entertainment.
There's a reason for that, and a lot of it goes down to and I hate to say it, and I can't speak for necessarily pop radio, regular straight talk radio, but a lot of program directors and general managers get in their own way. And this is, I've been with other stations since I've been with, 97.9 The Beat. I was with K104, God bless them. I was with, I did morning shows, doing producer of morning shows, been on the third mic, all that good stuff. But what I kept seeing is a lot of the GMs and program directors want to be the stars themselves, but they were not personalities. And so they would kind of get in their own ways. A lot of ego. Unfortunately, I see a lot more ego in urban radio than I've seen kind of in other formats as far as up top.
That's a lot of ego then, because there's a lot of ego in all formats.
It is. It manifests itself in a different way. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could really say, and people have our partner Super K, the third guy that was on the show with us. He did the barbershop thing before LeBron did. And when LeBron came, we were like, did he see what you were doing? Or did somebody catch wind of, because it was dang near the same thing, but he just didn't have the money behind it and he didn't have people pushing it. A lot of times with urban radio, they want to see, it's like basically with urban music, they want to see show and prove before we put money into you. We want to see a lot of things proven for a while before we put money into you. And a lot of times it's kind of difficult to do that in an urban format because it's just a different culture and it picks up steam in a very different way. It seems like, you know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of personalities out there that are in the urban format, you would say. Big shout out to, matter of fact, Dee in the morning. A lot of people don't know Dee. She's syndicated, but she's very much, they don't let her talk about the stuff she wants to talk about. She's very, very educated. She wants to talk about aliens. She wants to talk about conspiracy theories. She wants to talk about different weird things in the news. She wants to talk about wars and things that are going on, but they don't. Her and I would start talking about that on the morning show, and we'd look over and they'd be like, we want us to talk about like why Tyrese took off his shirt. Like,
I need a female partner, Pugs and Dee. That'd be great.
I'm telling you, she's great, man.
Talk. Oh, I can do as a matter of fact, that's why we got E. Can we bring E in? I don't like him sitting on the sidelines like this. How you bring him in, or you want me to? Oh, you sit in my window with him. Oh, nice. There we go. That seems more ecumenical. Look at that.
Hey.
Wow, spread out. E, the artist, Juno Keynote. Have you guys met?
We just met a few minutes ago earlier, and I was enjoying these stories, and like he was great storyteller and really funny.
Now I'm familiar with you. I'm familiar with your name, man. Very, very. So it's good to put a face with the name, as they say.
Yeah, it was just like the way you were going through it and how it was, and God, I mean, it like kind of tears at my heart. Like it was like a good time, like between all the different people in dodgeball, I remember, and just getting on air and the comedians that would come in and the vibe when we would go over to the improv. Just it was like a special, unique time with the audience and the cast of different people, that are around on different shows.
Can I be the guy that gets to explain to Keynote who Emil is?
Yeah,
because I don't know. I'm like the least educated guy to answer this question.
Yeah.
So I'm working.
Hold on, hold on. Let me explain. This is a fun game because this is something that Emil probably goes through. A lot of people have to explain who Emil
But I know, I remember you, dude, on everything. I'm not just saying this to be sitting here. I remember your name, and once you pointed out, I'll probably be like, okay.
Emil comes up in a lot of stories. So you find yourself when Emil's not around trying to explain to people who Emil is. Now, Emil rarely gets to sit in on the explanation. So go ahead, James. This will be fun. Explain to Keynote who Emil is in front of Emil.
So this is a trip because I don't know who this dude is, but I'm working at 105.3 when I'm like 25. And he's not that much older than me. He might be like 38. But he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I want to do a weekend show." And it's like, "Yeah, doesn't everybody get in line, pal?" I want to do a weekend show, right? And so we're like hanging out at the bar, and you want to do a weekend show? I want to do a weekend show. I've been trying to do a weekend show. I've been working there for like a year or whatever, just hounding people to try and do a weekend show. And like the next time I hang out with him, he's like, "Yeah, I'm starting a weekend show next week." Oh, damn it! What did you do that I didn't do? And so I don't know who this guy is, but I'm like, well, okay, clearly this guy has succeeded wildly in just a matter of weeks where I have failed in over a year of trying. So what does he have that I don't have? Well, first off, he has matching Ferraris. Let's just start there. Emil has had some sort of what they call success, like in business in the world, and so
That's
yeah.
it. That's where I remember. Because I did used to listen to you. That is correct. You were the dudes like when I couldn't get Pugs and Kelly on the weekend, and you would. That's right. Big up, sir. Much respect. Much
Yeah,
respect.
so this dude just showed up. Boom! I got a show, and here's the deal: like, there's people, and not to suck off Emil for a second here, but like Tony Romo is a guy who was a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Now he's an all-star broadcaster, and he's a scratch golfer. Just like whatever they do, they're just good at stuff. They're just good at stuff. My sister's oldest kid, whatever he does, he's just good at stuff. And so Emil's one of these guys, like he's good at stuff. And like I grew up around losers and freaks and failures all around me, and then this guy shows up and it's like, you might want to pay attention to what Emil's doing, because I have a car that's worth about $4,000. Yeah, so
it was thank you for that, but it was I was just fortunate at the right time. It was cool. It was a cool time.
And then he's a dick because he downplays it like that. Oh, you know, work hard.
No, I mean, if I think like how it started and how it was supposed to start, like that story, I mean, so I mean, I wanted to do a health and nutrition show and sell fat surgery to people. Like that was my thought. I wanted to do like an infomercial, and my sister was dating this doctor in Irving who was connected to Dr. Phil. And remember when Dr. Phil was doing all those weight loss books, the 7 ways to diet, da 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 da. And so Dr. Phil had me come out there because when they came into town, they had scanned at my imaging centers. I owned MRI centers.
Stop. Pause the story. James, did you notice how he just glossed over like one of the most difficult parts for any normal person? You notice how he just said, so Dr. Phil just had us come out there. Like what? How did that happen? How did you get into a relationship where Dr. fucking Phil is inviting you out to his place?
Because my sister at the time's boyfriend was a doctor in Las Colinas, and Dr. Phil lived in Las Colinas, and he was Dr. Phil's personal doctor.
Get Mike Reiner to respond to an email.
Right. And I can't know if you're
getting invited out to Dr. Phil's place on a lark.
Right. And
no, it wasn't a lark. It wasn't a lark. So what happened was, my sister's boyfriend, who's the doctor, who's Dr. Phil's doctor, is writing Dr. Phil's book, The 7 Ways to Weight Loss. And so he's in
doctor.
Yes. And he's in the weight loss book with Dr. Phil. So they need to have people scanned their body fat. In my imaging centers, I had these scanners to scan for body fat. So we flew his people
to. Is that a real thing? Stop. Is that a real thing? Scanners to scan for body fat?
Yes. You know, like this is back when like reality TV was really reality TV, and they had like
I gotta do this. Kino, do you have any friends that have body fat scanners? How many friends do you have that have body fat scanners?
I don't
the only way we know body fats, we count the stretch marks. That's really
it's zero, isn't it? It's zero.
Yeah,
so
zero.
This guy does this constantly to us. Yeah.
Now look. I am not saying that he didn't start a business that was a thriving business based on the idea that this technology. I just don't think it's real. Sorry, continue. Body fat.
What? Scanners. So you don't believe that they had body fat scanners?
No, I don't believe that.
They do. That's how I could determine you became eligible for the fat surgery. You had to have a BMI, a body.
That's how you determine whether or not you take their money for surgery.
well,
they passed the
the FDA had a requirement. The FDA had a requirement that in order to qualify for lap band, you had to have a BMI of 40% or higher. Okay, a body mass index. So when Dr. Phil had all of his people out there, there were like 13 contestants. I don't remember what they were. And they were on his show. Well, there was one girl, her name was Angela Carver. She was like from the mountains of West Virginia, and she weighed like 300 plus pounds. And I thought to myself, I was like, hey, I'm going to drag her back to Dallas. I'm going to employ her at like my imaging center. And then I'm going to have her on the radio show as
Angela.
being on Dr. Phil. And like, that's going to be one of my thought processes. So I had her come
He's
to
like
Dallas.
playing 7G chess or whatever the hell they call it. He's like 50. Who's thinking like that? He's gonna hire the obese girl from the Dr. Phil show and set her up.
She had national. I mean, dude, she had like likes on her page.
Thought about that. Nobody
Are
else.
you going to question him? How many Ferraris do you have, sir?
But
Yeah.
this is what I'm telling you. At the time, this was like when social media wasn't even really social media yet. They had the weight loss contestants on the Dr. Phil show, and they would go on and they would tell their stories. And then the audience that was watching the Dr. Phil show would respond to each of these contestants like, oh, Angela, you should have broke down and, eaten carrots. You should have ate whatever stupid nonsense it was. But it was wild to me to watch how many fat people were in America and were like responding to Dr. Phil. And then I thought, wow, I could buy my way on air, do a health and nutrition show, and throw this signal across 100 miles. And all I had to pluck out of the audience was one fat person at 20,000 a piece, and I could roll with it. And so I was like, all right. So I went on Kid Craddock and I said, hey, I want to give away 2 free fat surgeries.
Wait, how'd you get on Kid Craddock's show?
This is how this all started.
He pitched them.
So I go over to Clear Channel and I'm like, hey, you guys do kids. I want you to go on Kid and Kelly
Find your fattest
and tell your story about like your fattest parent, your fattest parent, and why you as kids are upset because mommy's too fat or daddy's too fat and they can't play with you.
Give me your fattest mom.
And then when you write in and we get like the notes from everybody, we'll then pick a winner. So Kid goes on air. I got to meet with Clear Channel. I convince them, hey, we can give away 2 of these surgeries. So Kid comes on air. He talks about it. Hey, kids, write in if you got a really fat mom or really fat dad that can't play with you. And we blow out the website. He's like on in 26 markets. We pick 2 people out of the audience, like one, I think, out of Minnesota, one out of, I don't know, somewhere, weren't even in Texas. I fly him into town. I take him to Old Warsaw down there off of McKinney, this really high-end restaurant.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I put him up in Zaza. Okay. I then get a limo and I take him from Zaza down the tollway to like the tollway in like where Willow Bend is, to a surgery center over there. Put him down on the table, put him asleep, put the lap band in him, wake him up, then interview them on the show. Hey, whatever, they're okay. Then put them on Kid's website for 6 months and watch their fat loss come off. So it's like 10 pounds a month, 10 pounds a month, 10 pounds. Well, the minute I start doing this, I get this huge response. So that's how I decided I want to do the show.
Hold on, pause. James, if this was you and me, if you and I were concocting this scheme, both those people would have died. They both would have died. There'd have been no kids countdown. There'd have been none of that bullshit.
Well,
You'd be in handcuffs.
One of them would have been like doing the Bill Cosby, Darren Sharper thing where they putting roofies in girls' drinks, and the other one was probably like a white collar criminal who's embezzling money from a charity or whatever.
But it would have been entertaining. It's entertaining though. It would have been entertaining. Roofie, you know,
I'm
when
sorry,
it's not roofing
Keno,
somebody.
but he asked, so that was like the history of like how that got started.
That's a beautiful origin story.
So let me ask Keynote something, because this now Keynote works in urban radio, so he's he's got his ear to the grindstone over in that part of the radio and media world. Pete Davidson is currently trending. Do you happen to know why Pete Davidson is currently trending?
Not at this moment. Maybe he like pulled his thing out, and I don't. It has something to either do with his dick, or I'm not sure if it's his comedy. But you know what I mean. Did not know today why he's trending today. I should, but I do.
You think it's dick related though?
Probably dick related.
Man, everything with that dude is dick related. Like he's got a roster because of his dick.
All right,
that's what it is.
It is dick related, but I'm so glad that you don't know, because I want to lay this on you and I want to get your natural response to it, because he's trending at the moment because he has a new girlfriend. He has a new, let's make sure. Let me show you who his new girlfriend is. And he is currently breaking the internet because, black guys are upset because he's come for your women.
Ice Spice. I'm not surprised. He got Ice Spice.
He is now dating Ice Spice, who tell us a little bit about Ice Spice. She's a beautiful woman, but Black Twitter is on fire right now because
hang on. First off, this reboot of the Spice Girls looks pretty legit.
Yeah. Yo, it's basically she's the new thought rapper of the genre of strip rap, where she most of her rhymes she's consisting of her vagina, money, and now she's getting over on a dude. I'm not sure her whole thing is happening, but she's gotten money behind her. She's from New York. Head Crack has a thing for her. As you can see, she has a big poop shoot.
Oh, okay, wait, stop! I didn't like the way you said that. What do you mean he's got a thing for you and for her and you don't?
I mean,
what's?
I'm like, I just been like, I'm with somebody that's. I'm not just because she's my baby. My mom's, but she's bad. My chick's bad, and she's Mexican and black and very beautiful. And so this girl, I'm like, yeah, it's like it leaves a certain. It not saying it just kind of like. It's like a thought, I see him. I've been around him. It's not impressive to me.
You are whipped. Listen to you.
He's not beautiful.
She's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
No, I'm not saying she's not, but I'm
is
just
she
saying
talented?
Not his flavor.
No, she can't. Fine. She can't. It's I guess what I was saying, when you're around a woman of a certain ilk over a period of time, just like, yeah, that's another one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's kind of what it is.
So I would like to hold on. Let me just get this straight. Okay, yeah, no, I just want to get this straight. This is why I brought it up. So she's not like some super talent that we're going to be hearing about a lot.
No, you'll hear about her. She's got. It's just the same. You hear about. You heard about Nicki Minaj. You heard about. The different ones. It's just Cardi is.
Is she gonna cross over?
She probably will, because she's got money behind her, and she's got a couple of joints that she's doing really well with now. It's not, like I said, in this day and time, it's not about the rhymes or the music necessarily. It's more about the optics and the image. She's got the look. She's very shapely. She's light skinned. You know what I'm saying? She can go in out of different communities, if you will. And so there you go, man. They're gonna put. I'm not saying she's not attractive or anything. I'm just saying, like, a lot of cats be like flipping their bikes over her, and I'm just like, you be around them, and it's like, that's another one.
If you want to be more abrasive, the word you would use is passable. Second of all, secondly, I would like to confirm that she is of Blaxican status.
Yeah, my girl. Yeah, my girl. Yes.
See, now yes. I really thought,
and Asian. Yeah.
Whoa. Now, I know this isn't like important to the core of her being, but is she a half black, half Hispanic, or what? You said Asian in there? Where's Asian?
Yeah, her mother's Asian, got Asian in her, so her mom's Mexican and Asian.
Oh, she's like the Tiger Woods kind of.
Who are we talking about, James?
She looks more Dominican, if you will.
Keynote's girl.
My baby mother.
No, not your baby mom. I'm talking about
This-
her.
This chick? Oh, I thought you were okay. We got cross there. No, this chick
I
right
was
here.
with Keynote on that.
And I was
Yeah, that's
really confused.
no. This chick, I believe, and I'd be lying if I told you she's from New York, so she's probably got a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying going on up in there. But
I thought you said she was a Blaxican.
nah, she isn't necessarily. I'm not sure exactly what her thing is. She might just be a light-skinned sister, if you will. But but there's a lot of things going on with her.
Here.
All right, here you go. Here's what she is. Are you ready? This is according to
Let's
Wikipedia.
go.
You're always great about pointing
Does
people.
it say the actual term Blaxican? Because that's going to catch on if we keep using it.
Her name is Isis Gaston. Okay, she's known professionally as Ice Spice. She is an American rapper. She grew up in the Bronx.
There you
She
go.
began her career in 2021 after meeting record producer Riot USA while attending State University of New York at SUNY Purchase. All right, whatever. Early life. Isis Gaston was born on January 1st, 2000 in the Bronx, New York, where she was raised in the Fordham Road neighborhood. She is the oldest of 5 siblings. Her father, a former underground rapper, is African-American, while her mother, who gave birth to Gaston at the age of 17, is Dominican. So
There you
she's
go.
Dominican and African-American.
Yeah, but Dominican's black. Or for the 98% of Dominicans are black. They're Hispanic.
Yeah, depending on
but they're black. So
Yeah, but I'm not saying she's not easy on the eyes and all that good stuff. I'm just like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've just been, it's just like another strip rapper. There's a certain genre that's kind of arisen now where it's like thought rapping. Bunch of, that like a certain style of chick did,
hang on. You're talking over Pugs' head. When he says thought rap, he's saying THOT. Do you know what he's saying there, Pugs?
Nope.
Okay.
like,
Just rolling with it.
like that thought to me is like that hoe over there. Like, it's just a certain style. I'm not saying she might be a swell gal, but like, I'm just saying it's just another, for me as being just, I'm a music nerd. So for me, I'm like, yeah, it's another girl rapping about a vagina and money. And dudes think she's hot, so she's going to sell records because she's easy on the eyes.
I never heard of her until tonight.
Yeah,
I never heard of her until like
You
40
will.
minutes before we came on. Well, yeah, now she's with Pete Davidson.
There you go. And I think that's probably a thing. I think that's probably a thing on her publicist, to help out right now because she's kind of blowing up.
So let me
Well,
ask.
they're both New Yorkers.
Right?
Yeah. He's from Long Island. Let me ask the room. Okay, so he is now Pete Davidson is now with Ice Spice. All this nonsense began with Ariana Grande, which I think is still, although he was with Kate Beckinsale, which is then Kim Kardashian, which is what, and now this. Has he traded up?
I think there was some interims between this and Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Has he traded up or traded down, James Parker?
Who was before this?
Kim Kardashian. Yeah, we're gonna go.
This is a trade down from Kim Kardashian, but not by much. This girl freaking adorable. Look at that. Like you wouldn't just love to hang out with that on a Saturday night.
That ain't Kim Kardashian. I happen to agree with you.
No, it's not Kim Kardashian. Look, and when we're talking about like history or politics or philosophy or whatever, I'd rather chat with Kim Kardashian than her. But look at that. That's fine.
I think this is a change in.
That'll do.
I missed it.
Go ahead.
No, I think this is a change in spotlight. Like I think when he was with Kim Kardashian, he was the +1. I think now she's the +1.
For now.
Well, he's been the +1 in every single one of his high-profile relationships,
except for Kim. He kind of was still the back. He was the backseat.
He was. Look, she was bigger.
No, that's what he means. Y'all agree.
Okay.
He was the +1. He was the secondary because he was second fiddle to Ariana Grande. He was second fiddle to who else did he date?
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. Kate
I would argue he was first fiddle.
Okay.
You think?
With Kate Beckinsale, a 40-year-old cougar award-winning actress? No, he was a boy toy. She's the.
I don't know. He got that big dick thing going for him.
Look, she dumped him and moved on to like whoever she's with now.
Well, I would expect her to dump him.
And anyway, this is I believe a trade down. I think Keynote. What do you think? Trade down from Kim Kardashian or trade up?
If it's a trade down, it's not by too much because it's thought behavior. I'm sorry, I'm a jerk, man. I'm a jerk. I'm an asshole. It's thought behavior, man. It's like I see these broads and I'm like, yeah, you'd be at the strip club if we didn't have social media. You know
That's
what I mean?
admirable. That's admirable. You have this moral
No, that is
conundrum.
an insult. Look, we are not communicating. When he said that's thought behavior, that is a demeaning term that he's using.
Yeah,
Pugs.
I'm just saying she might be cool people. She might be smart, but I'm saying how they project her and how she projects herself. And when I listen to words and rhymes and what she's rhyming about, I'm like, yeah, okay, so you got an ass, and so does whatchamacallit down the block. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. So.
And
Jenny on the block.
I'm saying in my middle-aged white guy way that is admirable that he is taking a stand against something that he sees as completely gratuitous.
I mean, it's easy on the eyes, man. But beyond that,
listen, I see internecine musician bickering because we have a guy who has actually put in work and developed skills and could probably out freestyle her into the freaking ground all day, every day. And she probably has 10 times the social media followers that he has, even though
she's got a million times what I had. Like,
isn't that the worst though? Doesn't that just break your spirit about the entire music industry? And like, look, if you're gonna be a musician, you better do it for the love, because if you're doing it because you think you're gonna blow up based on your own merit, this is the wrong business for you.
Yeah, that's how you got to look at it. I mean, and being that, I'm a fan of it first and foremost. It's just kind of like, but I get it. The thing is like I used to sit in these music meetings. They bring music to us and they would play it for us, and we had to decide whether or not we were going to play it or if it was going to be hot or not, right? And me and Head Crack can attest to this. We'd sit there and be like, "Oh, I hate this. This is terrible. They're gonna love it. They are gonna love it. This is terrible." And every time we blew up so many artists that are big now that that reached their prime, because we were like, "Yo, their music's horrible, but they're gonna work." Or, "Oh man, she looks good. She can't rap for nothing, but man, they're gonna love that ass." And was right 100% of the time. So,
let me ask you, because one of my favorite radio memories is when I worked with I was an assistant music director, and so I got to sit in on those music meetings. Now the ones you just described, was it just you and the program director and in-house only, or was there a representative from the record label there?
It was a mix, and we would not hold our tongue. And sometimes
the reason I ask is because if there was someone from the record label there, then you guys had big giant sub sandwiches, and there was were those the best meetings ever? The way when music guys would try and convince us to play their new song, the shit they brought us. That was like,
hey, here you go, guys. Here, try this new restaurant. What do you want? And I used to drink, so be like, "You want some of the most expensive whatever?" You know what I'm saying? And
hey, who needs a couple of tickets to the Bears game? It's up in the box. It's up in the Warner Brothers box.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So I mean, I just look at things from a different perspective. You ask my personal opinion, but I know it works. Like, she's gonna blow up, and she's already starting to blow up, man. She's got the package. She's easy on the eyes. She got a fat ass. She raps about nonsense. It's gonna work, man. But like when I'm looking at it from a fan point of view, I'm just like, yeah, it's another girl rapping about her crotch.
Well, that's why Pete Davidson is trending right now. He's breaking the internet. Black Twitter in particular is very upset with Pete Davidson because it was funny when he was stealing Kate Beckinsale from English dudes and Ariana Grande from suburban white teenagers. But now he's coming for a real girl.
Getting that Bronx ass, man. That's what he's getting.
All right, let me ask you guys this, James. We I don't know how much time we have left to dedicate to this, but whatever. I wanted you involved in this too. So actually, we still got to have E on to have an in-depth conversation about UFOs, because I'm jonesing to have a UFO show where we talk and debate the merits of the UFO.
Nice.
Okay, but before we do that, and because we're running out of time, and Emil's wearing his Yankee hat. Emil, have any of you guys watched any spring training baseball yet? And I know that's a really hard question because we're only 3 days into spring training.
No.
So probably no. E, what about you? Have you caught a Yankee game or anything?
I have not watched any Yankee game yet. Closest thing I watched to the Yankees when I saw Aaron Judge on Jimmy Kimmel about 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, the reason I bring this up is because there are a whole mess of new rules in baseball this year, and they are awesome. Look, I love.
I know where you're going first. Can I just interrupt? Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Because my Twitter is blowing up about there's now a play clock.
Yeah, a pitch clock.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A pitch clock.
Yeah.
And so we had the first official guy that got a called strike from taking too damn long in the batter's box, batting your cleats and fixing your gloves. Justin, you had it's something I absolutely despise about baseball. But the argument against it, I find totally compelling because the people who don't like that aren't watching baseball anyway. And so, why are you going to change the rules for people who aren't going to watch? And now that you change the rules, they're still not going to watch, and you're just ruining it for the people who like baseball. And so, for a baseball fan, I'm dying to hear from you.
Well, let me just point out what you just said about what happened today, where a pitcher got called. It was the first pitcher to be called for violating the pitch clock. It's like a shot clock in the NBA. If the pitcher is out there dicking around, or if the batter is stepping out of the box and wasting time, they're getting called for these things now. So it was during the White Sox and Mariners game today, and this is the game that I actually got to watch, so I got to see this happen. The bases were loaded for the White Sox, and the Mariners brought in a new pitcher, and he's some rookie kid that is just getting his first shot in spring training, and he blew the pitch count by like a second. The box went red because there's a countdown, and once you get inside 10 seconds, just like in football with the snap count, it starts to flash when you start to get close. And this kid blew it, and with the bases loaded, they scored a run from third because he got called for the violation, and it was the go-ahead run. And I'm like, oh, baseball traditionalists are going to hate this. But 2 hours and 6 minutes from first pitch to final out. That's what I watched a Major League Baseball this weekend in. 2 hours and 6 minutes. That's down from an average game time of 3 hours plus.
Man,
Was that a 9-inning game you watched or 7?
It was 9 innings. It was not, I'm sorry. It was 2 hours and 26 minutes. Not 2 hours. 2 hours and 26 minutes. They shaved 35 minutes off the game just by not allowing pitchers to shake everything off.
I still hate that zombie rule.
Yeah, well, the zombie runner is still
there.
That's the in the 10th inning. In the event of a tie, they start with a guy on second base. I like it. Let's get this.
I like it.
Yeah, let's move it out. Let's move this game on. Come on. Let's we got stuff to do.
It's horrible if you're a sports bettor.
Well,
it pisses you off if you are a sports bettor.
Now, Keynote and I are sports fans, but not necessarily baseball fans. Keynote, does this make you more likely to want to watch baseball?
Well, I watch it in little spurts to be stereotypical. I like baseball and soccer and like things where people punch each other. You know what I'm saying? So if there's violence, I'm for it. But baseball, yeah, man, it's cool, especially if I'm weeded or something. But yeah, I think it helps kind of move things along, especially with the new generation. Everybody has a short attention span. I see why they're doing things as long as they don't get ridiculous with it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a terribly slow and plodding game, and it needs to be more entertaining for a generation that doesn't have the attention span of previous generations. One of the other things that I like that they've done is they've made the bases humorously large. Like the bases are now like big
like clown bases.
Yes, they're like softball bases. That's how they're big and they're billowy, and they're like, I think, a third larger than the bases were before. And they've done this for one reason and one reason only, because they want to encourage more steals. They want more plays, they want more action, they want more running, and they figure if the base is a little bit bigger, people who steal will more likely try. Because how many guys have we seen thrown out by just like a hair? Well, all those guys are safe now with the new bases. So they're trying to I love it. I love everything that Major League Baseball is doing, from trying to speed it up. And I know, look, I
don't think it's going to win me back. I don't think no, well, as a casual sports fan who used to watch baseball, who just doesn't have time in adulthood, is that going to bring me back? I don't think it will. And I hope it doesn't spoil it for the traditionalists or people who are already fans. But I think it's a step in the right direction, but it doesn't win me over.
Well, I think they should let them do drugs.
Right.
As a fat white man, I like the shorter bases. My speed is more on display. I mean, I'm for that rule change.
Look, I played a lot of baseball growing up, so I know the game and I love the game. I'm just not keeping up with 160 games of any team for anything whatsoever. But Pug, I saw an interesting stat floating around social media that up until a few years ago, there was no such thing as a Major League Baseball team that batted under 240. And since they've gone to these hard shifts and these analytics and some other things that people were complaining about, there's a lot of teams who are batting under 240. And one of the complaints I see, and I don't know what to think of it because I don't watch enough baseball to have a valid opinion, is the complaint that it has shifted all to strikeouts versus home runs, and analytics, and the shift has ruined baseball and actually batting and getting a ball in play.
Yeah, one of my favorite baseball plays, probably because I was a catcher, is the bunt. I love the bunt. They never bunt anymore. Bunting is not an option in Major League Baseball. It's all about launch angles. I will say this though, we will see those numbers rise again this year because the shift has been banned. Thankfully, I hated this shift. Now, if you're unfamiliar with
Why? Now, why do you hate the shift?
because
Oh, it
baseball,
was awful.
Do you're unfamiliar because people don't know what that is.
Yeah, like clue me in. 'Cause-
okay, so the shift was a defensive alignment when a specific batter would come to the plate. If analytics dictated that this batter, like 70% of the time, hit the ball to this area, they would move a player from like one
Oh.
field to that area. So there'd be a gaping giant hole somewhere in the field, but this idiot couldn't hit the hole because the analytics were
you
right
would see
70% of the time.
you would see maybe the third baseman keynote, like literally the third baseman there, and then a guy on the other side of second, and a guy in the middle of second, or like first and second, and a guy on first. Like overload 3 over there, 1 maybe over here in this huge hole. Like if you were playing baseball back when I was in Little League and you
Right.
couldn't hit to the left or to the right, you basically were nowhere in the top of the order. You were somewhere at the bottom, only
Right.
because they had to bat you. Like your batting coach would be that, or your coach would be that irritated that you couldn't hit to both sides of the field. In today's major leagues, there are dudes that cannot put it in that hole.
That's crazy because if you would see a hole, like, all right, you're giving me an opening, I'm gonna go for that. Like, it's exactly
Right.
where I'm gonna hit. You know what I'm saying?
There's very few of those kinds of hitters in
Yeah,
the
but hit 100-mile-an-hour pitch wherever you
True.
want to.
True. Well,
Well,
that's why you in the major leagues, man. You're supposed to be able to do that.
Well,
they
pitchers
used
got
to-
a fast
They
too,
used
right?
they used to be able to do that. They used to be able to do that in the games where, whether you called it small ball or whatever, there was more base runners. It wasn't so entirely dependent on the 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th, right? I mean, it was about moving players around, and there was more. Now, a lot of that stuff apparently took a lot of time. So if the trade-off is that we get 2 hours and 20-minute games, and it's a little bit of a dumbed down version of baseball, I'm all for it.
Well,
I love all the rule changes.
Dumbed down with the zombie crap too. I mean,
Yeah,
he
that's
got a
fine.
guy on with no outs,
I'm
and
fine
he's
with
on second base, and you don't start out with a bunt. How the hell is
Yeah.
that possible?
Hey, strategy. See, now we got some strategy. You're right. Why wouldn't you start out with a bunt? Move them over to third. Let's go.
Right? No, these guys will come up there and they got a free swing hit. And we're talking about extra innings. You score first,
Mhm.
and then the other guy gets to go after you. I mean, 1 run is death sometimes. They don't want 1 run; they want 2.
I just want to weigh in that I enjoy the new rules. I enjoy that there's a DH in both leagues now. I enjoy the zombie runner. I enjoy the bigger bases, and I enjoy the ban on the shift. And the pitch clock is so much fun. Some of the most temperamental athletes in all of baseball are the major league starting pitcher. And there are going to be pitchers, big dollar pitchers. We're talking like, Cy Young winners on major contracts who are going to lose their shit because they're going to feel rushed or like they're out of their zone or whatever. It's going to be great.
I think there needs to be a league of Tommy John pitchers and non-Tommy John pitchers. Like, how many pitchers don't have Tommy John surgery?
James, I don't know. It's a good question.
Right.
Let me get on that.
Well, I'm just looking at the clock, and we're running out of time. And for purposes of harvesting content here, I would like to get the farewell story from both Keynote and Amel on the demise of 105.3. What do you remember about it? What did you think about it? What did it look like from your point of view when 105.3 live 105.3 went under and flipped to the fan?
Well, I was very disappointed, actually, like saddened, because it was a great part of my day, and not to sound corny or anything, but for real, I really looked forward to it, especially when I be going in to do my shift. It got me in a good mood, ready to do my show, and so to see it demise, that bothered me. I wasn't sure what was happening because I didn't know if it was switching to sports because the program director, was it Gavin? Was it? I forget his name, but at the time. seemed to, every time I brought him in, he was really sports heavy. He wanted to talk about sports. I talked about how he was a big sports fan. Then it started leaning towards that way. So I was like, is it because the program director? Because I'm going to send him a bad email or whatever, or was it because Russ Martin? Because he was bugging. I didn't know, because I would listen to him too at sometimes until he started calling us the Boogaloo Boys and Boogaloo Station and all that mess because we were beating him. But he would say some racial things, man. And that pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? At first I thought, he's being funny, but then it was like, nah, that ain't coming from a place of comedy. So I didn't know.
No.
Look, I had no idea as to what was going on. But when it was demise, I was like, for real, disappointed, man. I was like, why would y'all do that? It seems like it's winning. It's one of the best things on Dallas radio. So what the hell are y'all doing? It seemed like a format that was winning. And I saw me and Crack, especially me, Crack and K, we saw the rise of podcasts coming. We even tried, but they wouldn't let us do it because our contract, but we saw it even back then. So we're like, why would you get rid of this? And that's how I saw it. I was confused, man. And I blamed it personally. I blamed it either on Russ Martin or I blamed it on the program director at the time, maybe getting into some execs' ears and saying, no, this ain't working.
Look at that. That was great. Now, I don't know how good the podcast is going to be, but James is going to make some smoking promos out of that stuff. Thank you, Keno. We appreciate you.
That was like spot on the way I felt too.
Yeah, and it's not Boogaloo Boys, it's Bodega Brothers, right?
Yeah, we the Bodega Brothers. Big up Bodega. Thank you for that. The Bodega Brothers. Check us out, podcast as well. But yeah, no, that's like, I don't know how Amo felt, but like exactly. But that's what I saw and what I was like as a fan. And I know things were going on, Pugs, and I could tell on I didn't want to hit you up directly and be like, hey, I didn't want to bother you at the time. And I know I was just kind of confused at what was going on. And I was really disappointed, to be honest, as a fan. You know what I'm saying?
So like everything he said there, and then I was very disappointed. And then I woke up over at the Bone and I was answering phones for Pugs and Kelly over there.
Yeah, we made him our phone screener.
Mm.
And I remember I would have to sneak in the building, like I'd have to get past security.
Oh God, it was so small time. Oh.
And they were putting me in the phone room, and the Bone was putting them up. And if you remember, the Bone back then was rock. It was just all rock. Like, and P and K were getting inserted in over there.
I remember that.
And
so it was supposed to be a different format. They were going to change the format to fit our audience. We were going to be the cornerstone. They were going to build the whole station around our brand of like yuppie suburban mid-30s lifestyle talk. And then they wanted to keep playing Dio and fucking Ozzy.
So I'm
not
like,
our audience, man. Why did you bring us over here? That's not our audience.
And so I'm being very supportive of Pugs at the time, and I'm like feeling for him because like he got, the raw deal over there at 105, and so like, yeah, dude, I'll go in there and I'll answer the phones. So him and Kelly are going around with the program guy, and they're like 15 minutes of rock, 15 minutes of talk, and so Pugs and them get in, they get started, and you remember how there was a clock, but the clock never really worked. If you had something and you were flowing, you flew with it, and the commercials went over here, and then Pugs would make it up with Kelly. There'd be like long breaks or short breaks. So you're figuring all that out. So Pugs and Kelly go, they get into it, they're in their thing, and then boom, they got a break and they got to do the hard rock. I'm answering the phones and people are calling. They're like, could you tell them to turn the fucking Led Zeppelin off? And then the next guy would be going, would you tell Pugs and Kelly to shut the fuck up and turn on Van Halen? And it was like this war on the phones between people that wanted the Bone and then people that wanted Pugs and Kelly that were over there. Oh, it was so frustrating. And what did that last about 120 days?
No, 6 months.
6 months. Yeah, 6 months like that.
It was 6 months. And then they decided that they were going to flip to a Latino dance music thing. And that's where we were in the office with Kat. And that's I've said this before, but Kelly, the line still cracks me up. They said, yeah, we're shifting to a form of Latino club music, like Latino dance music. And Kelly goes, oh, well, that's going to be a problem because I don't speak Spanish. I know, I've told that story before, but it's just such a funny line.
All right, Keno, answer this comment from Jeff. Can you have Keynote
Oh.
plug his stuff now? Sounds like a great dude. Where can we find him?
I appreciate that, man. Anything with the Bodega Brothers, BROVAS, like you're pointing down, like you're being jivey. We have music coming out, all kinds of videos, content. Also have a podcast called Our Effin' Podcast, and you can find that wherever your finest podcasts are streamed.
Who is in our effing podcast?
It is Head Crack, me, Keynote, and our partner Travi. And it's one dude. He's, even though his name is plural, it's TRAVII. Shout out to them boys, man. Love them dudes.
Is that a
Yep.
plural? Yeah, not more than
Yeah.
one.
So, matter of fact, that speaking of Russ Martin and stuff, I think he called in one time to Russ. He actually did phones or something for him as well. And Russ Martin used to be
Rabbi Pugs. When I first started working at 105.3, he was in the promotions crew.
Who?
That's right.
Travis. Yeah.
You
Travis.
met him. He was a fan of the show too. He was a big fan of the show.
You've met Travis before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably know if I recognize. him.
So before I was on the show, when I was going to your events and stalking y'all and stuff, I would help the promotions crew put up banners. I would help the engineering crew like run the wires and stuff just to get in good with everybody. And Travi was one of those dudes. We're talking 2002.
Yeah. Yeah, he did some things, man. He was also with the ES Radio for a while, and he was with us for a while. But yeah, he has some chops, man. So he does the podcast with the Head Crack and I, and we do a lot of UFO heavy stuff as well. So man, if you're into that,
You guys gotta have me on. You guys.
let's get it.
I
We
am
can do it
not
this week.
kidding.
We'll
We
get you
do
on
know
this
he has
week.
a UFO story. Pugs has a UFO story.
I do. Me and Head Crack do too. I was on Dish Nation with them about it, man. It's pretty crazy.
Wait, you got abducted
like to hear
or
yours.
you saw a UFO? What's your bit?
I was diddled. No, I actually saw two. I'll go through the one. I'll let Crack probably tell you guys the one where he and I experienced. But when I was 13, waiting for some girls, we was out. Me and my buddies were out way too late, sitting on the corner of this neighborhood in this street, and it's out towards Flower Mound, Texas, and it's before a whole bunch of houses and stuff were built out there. So we're sitting there. It's probably about 1 a.m. We're waiting on these girls to walk up, and we're just talking. I'm kind of looking down. Two of my buddies are sitting to my left. And we're sitting underneath the street light, got a little jam box and stuff sitting there. And they're talking. I'm just looking around. I look up, and right above us is this triangle, big dark triangle with some lights on it. No sound, low. I mean, low. You can't hear nothing. It's just sitting there. I mean, stationary. The type of fear I felt, I have never felt it before or since. It's like everything in my body was like, this is not right. This is not right. And so I hit my buddies. I'm like, and they look up and we just take off. I mean, we take off running. He goes to his house where we were at.
You got buddies. You got buddies who will back this up.
Oh yeah. Matter of
very
fact, one of them did his whole college papers on one of his college papers on it, and did a speech on it and everything. And it was quite a moment in our life because I mean, I remember just looking up and staring at it, and this type of I've never felt that kind of fear in every piece of me was just like, go, this is not from here. I didn't feel threatened necessarily, but it was just no noise. I didn't hear as big as it was. We didn't hear it come up. We didn't hear it leave. It was just sitting there above us. No noise. Huge.
I am told. Invite me on the show, and we will trade UFO stories. I will tell my story. I won't tell it here. I won't tell it now.
Okay.
Because my 13-year-old son gets mad at me when I tell it.
What's the name of your podcast again?
There's a chance he could hear it here. Yeah. So what is the podcast?
Our Effin' Podcast.
Yeah. When you want to do UFOs, man, please reach out to me. I mean, that's
we'll get you on. We'll get you on this next episode, man. We'll get you on, and I'll let Crack tell the one that we experienced. He and I saw one via the phone together, looking at. Yeah, we were three actually. Super K, me, and Head Crack.
Yeah, you guys on that ayahuasca? You guys on that?
Not yet. No? This was years before we did that.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. All right. Are you into that too? Because Crack was telling us all about how he's big into the ayahuasca and going on these neuropsychic journeys.
I stick to my marijuanas, and that's about as far as I go. I mean, I don't have anything against it, and I just rock with I'm interested. I'm not, maybe one day, you know what I mean? But right now I'm just like, I like to hear his stories. You know what I'm saying? Let him do his searches.
Well, here's why I'm interested in it, because when I did do those things, when I did experiment with psychedelics, I was in my 20s, and I really think that at that I think that doing psychedelics on people in their 20s is a big waste. I think that you need to have life experience to
I can
truly
dig it.
process, to truly have some sort of a understanding of where you've come from, what you've been through, what you can, surmount, whatever.
Right.
So I would like to try again, start doing psychedelics when I'm in my 60s. I'm thinking,
Is that you want to do mushrooms? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, mushrooms, whatever. What do you got? What do you know? I'm willing to try, I definitely want to
Like I consider mushrooms psychedelics.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, mushrooms, acid.
Why don't you go straight to acid? That's the one that's made
I've
in a
never done
lab.
acid that I can remember.
That seems a little too tough. That seems a little heavy for me. Like head crack before a show of all things. We were about to perform. He talked me into trying shrooms, and it was a great experience. I didn't take too many, but it was a great experience. But I mean, I could see what you're saying as far as life experience, because it really
Yeah.
made me.
I'd
what I'm
like
saying?
to have those doors opened when there's something on the other side of them. When I was 20, there's like
Right.
nothing on the other side of those doors. Cool. Look at all that could be. But, I've been through some stuff, and I'd like to maybe work through that with the help of some psychedelics. And
That
I
makes sense.
really think that it makes more sense for older people than it does young people.
All right.
Huh.
Thanks to our guest.
Oh, thank you, Keto. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Hit me up about the UFO podcast. I want to do
We're
it.
gonna get that in. We're gonna get that in.
All right. James, thank you. E, thank you. We'll do UFO talk here as well some point, and we'll have E back because he's got a crazy take. He's got a take that I want to get into with him.
I want to hear that, man. I got to watch that one, man.
You're still here. I'm sorry. It's like I thought James got rid of it. No, you can stay. He didn't have to leave. All right. Well, all right. Everybody, come on back and join us tomorrow at noon for high noon. That's current events, hot topics, trends, whatever it is that people are buzzing about or talking about. I give it to you every day at noon, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is the High Noon Show with me, Pugs Moran. And then again, we do this show. This one's called Pillow Talk. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. We do this one Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. all time Central. And I guess that's going to be it. We'll see you tomorrow. I am got to eat some dinner. I didn't eat dinner yet. I'm trying to think what I should have. Hey, I got a lot to choose from. I mean, it's not like I got a buffet here. But... All right, I'm going to go figure that out, and then I'm going to bed, and then we'll see you tomorrow at noon. Bye, everybody.
I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. It has been a journey, a multi-answer test. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401, I don't have the greed. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest.